Hello, CJ Miller. I'm in my kitchen in Shreveport, Louisiana, and today I'm going to make a sauce to go over a couple of fish fillets while they're baking. Now, fish in the oven at about 350 can go for 15 to 20 minutes, depending upon, the size and you really just how well your oven really retains heat. With recipes like that for baking, they're guides, but a lot of things, even with bread baking, it depends upon, how much moisture is in the air on that day. Those kind of things really kind of affect uh, the greater outcome of the product. Well, this is going to be okay. We're just doing some trout and some cod fillets, and they're relatively thin pieces, so this is going to work great. I'm going to turn the oven on to 350 when I put this rub on, and basically what it's going to be is, I make a pretty good amount of it. I don't have to use it all. I can use it for other things, but let's see what's up. And we're doing a surf and turf, or I'm going to do it for dinner tonight. About 2 tablespoons of an Italian blend, any of your favorite, and about a teaspoon red pepper flake, red chili powder, and cumin, and maybe just a splash of no, I didn't even use that. I was going to say that I want to use some Old Bay seasoning. I did not use Old Bay seasoning or anything because I really didn't want the fish to taste like, crab. Old Bay kind of, they say use it on everything, and I do, but it also has kind of a crab bake kind of flavor for me. But anyway, so if you were going to use like a whiting fish and make imitation crab cake, you could throw in a little bit of that Old Bay, and it would kind of give it a crab flavor and kind of give you people a little fool. But this is not that. We're going to lay this sauce over the fillet, and basically you take the dry, and then what you do is you come in, and I got it right here, a good heaping teaspoon. No real measurement. Just get a good glob of heavy mayonnaise. And let me give this a stir. Here we are. And what could be easier? I don't know. I've tasted it. It's very, very delicious. I love the way a good mayonnaise tastes anyway. Now, the secret to this is to not go real thick when you spread it. The whole idea is basically to help these powdered herbs be spreadable by using a little bit of mayo. If you want to use a mustard or something, you can do that instead. I'm not a big mustard fan. I love mayo. I would avoid ketchup for this. I wouldn't use ketchup for this. So this is a really good blend, really good balance of flavor. There's no raw ingredients, so I'm able to dip my finger in real quick. What do I need to add? Absolutely nothing. Okay? Roughly, the Italian seasoning to the amount of about a tablespoon, and then about a teaspoon of the red pepper, of the chili powder, and of the curry. And there is here a that bite of that pepper that's going to be lingering on the tongue, but it's not super spicy. So let's go in and put this on the fish real quick before I put it in the oven. Here I have the 3 fillets of trout, the skin side bottom down, 2 cod, and there's no skin on the cod. I just, it pre-packaged, pre-frozen, brought them home. They're really good. I remember the cod when I had it. I was like, okay, these are like weird cod bits. What can I do with it? So whatever. But yeah, we're gonna go bake it. And what we do, just to use the back end of your spoon, Not too heavy. Just want to get a good coating on all of this. Just cover it up. Uh, don't worry about if there's a piece of fish tucked under another piece of fish, stopping it from getting it. You know, you can take it out halfway through cooking and resituate as you need to. I'm going to pause this, come back and get the good coating on all this, and I'll come back and show you how it looks before I put it in the oven. So, just maybe once this preheats, and it's on its way to preheating now, it's going to go into the oven here. 15, possibly 20 minutes. For some reason, if your fish is not crispy when you get done with this baking, then if you want, you can take it. Hang on. So yes, because I raw tasted that dip, I caught a little red pepper flick in the back of my throat. I was like, you know. Okay, so, and that will, like, whoa, hit you hard. So I still have all this dip left that I can do something else with. This makes a good marinade if you're doing like any kind of crab claws or anything like that. Would work for that too. Any sort of, maybe you'll do like an amuse bouche or something like that, you know. Rub it on some steak before you skewer it or something like that. You could do anything with it. You could add or subtract to it or whatever. What you don't want to do is you don't want to save this past this preparation. You know, there's sometimes where you can do that. This is just one of these things I really just wouldn't recommend. But I'm doing a turf along with this surf, and what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to brush down the steak that I have with this same treatment right here. No variation to it at all. It's going to work for the surf and the turf. What I was going to say, you could take this out when it's done, when it's finished cooking, and if it's not quite textured on top, you want to get a little crispy under this fish on top if you want to, then what you can do is you can take it out, let it rest while you turn your oven off, and then turn on the broiler onto high, and then you could put this under a broiler just long enough to give a slight toastiness to the outside of the fish, but you don't want to dry this fish out. It's really good, but let's keep it delicious and moist and flaky. And what doesn't work on a plate beside a surf and turf later makes a good fish sandwich. So we're going to go into the oven. Hang on. Caught a red pepper flake in the back of it. I call it a red pepper flake. See, this is cool. I know, but okay, so when you look at this, check this out. Now I know I'm going to give this another flip or so before I'm totally done with it. I want to you know, I'm not doing grill marks. When you're doing grill marks, you want to be careful how you flip it and the direction that you flip it so you get those great little things. There are some, even if you don't have a grill but you're using a cast iron inside, there are cast iron skillets that have those raised bottoms, those ridges along the bottom so that you can get some grill marks. And that's kind of fun. But since I don't have that, I'm not too concerned about any pan markings when I do flip or anything. But this is a good non-stick skillet. That's good for something like this. Don't want to go too high with a non-stick skillet. And but look at this. Look how these herbs are clinging to this steak. Now there are some steak purists that are going to be like, oh my God, run it. No. Don't be afraid to be a little bit creative, you know. I do eat a lot of, I'm really kind of getting towards where I want to lean more and more to my keto, to be a little bit more disciplined. in the keto, and I say that, and I do good, and then sometimes I don't, but I really want to do good. And so what happens is that I want to find creative ways so that I don't get bored eating the same food over and over and over. Now that this fish has been in the oven about 10 minutes, I'm going to take it out and peek at it. You want to do that. You don't want to overdo it. And then if there's any rearranging that needs to be done with my pieces in the pan, the couple of the end pieces that overlap, well, I want to get them cooked too. I don't want to have like, so yeah, I want to be careful to see what's up. Be back in a click. Okay, so we're getting a good crust on this, but the fish is not done yet. Okay, so it's going back into the oven. Maybe another 10 minutes. I want these thicker edges to be done all the way through. If I need to, I can take the trout out a little bit sooner and finish off the cod. Why did I mix them? No particular reason. They just happened to be what was in the freezer. Okay, now what to serve with these kind of things is really, it's entirely up to you. Let me see if I can't flip this while I'm talking to you. I just take a little fork, stab it in. It's a non-stick, it's really easy. There we go. Nope. Need to. Okay, there we go. Okay. And so, the meat can be, for a nice presentation, it can be medium. I really wouldn't want it to be any, I don't really like a really raw, rare steak. Some people just love a rare steak. What's going to happen with this is because I'm going to serve this to myself, basically. But if I were serving this, I wouldn't want the too much red juice running into the fish. So I would at least want to get this to a medium. And then cut, and then, I let this rest and let the juice pull back into the meat. But also when I cut it, let that juice kind of drain from the meat. And then if I need to, I can spoon some of it over, the steak itself. But I don't want it to run off of the plate and run into the fish. Fish bloodied up with beef blood. It just, to me, does not look appetizing. So this is just one of these things. So this is a thicker cut, a good medium, but really I wouldn't want to go under medium. And, and then the exception would be if I were serving this in courses, if I were serving a fish course and then a beef course, then, but I'm going to have some of this on some of both of this on the same plate. So, nothing fancy, just me sitting here having food that I'm going to have for myself. So, and I want to hear what's going on with you guys in your life, some of the things that you enjoy, and let me know what you like to eat when it comes to dinner. I am fortunate that I don't have just this urging craving for sweets all the time. I love a good dessert, but it's not essential to my life. I say that I let other people make the desserts. How about that? When I go to a restaurant, I let the restaurant serve the dessert. I don't really worry about that too much at home. Unless it's a holiday or something. It's going to be just a couple more minutes on each side. I do want to get a good, deliciousness on this steak. The twang of the mayonnaise is not really going to register that much. What it's really going to... if you didn't use a mayonnaise, say if you had a horseradish sauce, you could do this, but I wouldn't put the horseradish on the fish. But that horseradish dipping sauce that we use for French dip and a good, say a prime rib, and you had you know, the horseradish dip on the side of it. I actually used to get like raw, like grated up horseradish, not mixed into a mayo, which is traditionally how that happens. I used to get it not mixed into a mayo and just have it and put it on my steak. It's when I worked at the White Lion in Florida. I'll tell you about that, guys, in a few months. Maybe I'll be able to give you a real good detail of what's going on. I'm hearing some sizzle come along out of this oven. Let me give another peek down there. You know, the thing about this, food can go from like not quite done to being overcooked in a minute. So you really want to keep an eye on food that cooks quick. On your quick cook food, keep an eye out. See, just in that few minutes, these thicker bits of cod got that much closer to being done. They're still not done, but they're right on the verge of it. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to maybe take a moment to get the trout, that one piece of trout or whatever that's tucked underneath the cod. I'm going to get those pieces out and let them get a little browning on that end. So I'm going to share the heat. Okay, and so this is why, because we have this nice crust forming along here, but we have this mayo spread and edge of fish right there that really is just not getting the heat attention. And it's actually, the thicker piece underneath here is actually more cooked than here. So this is going to go back into the oven for about 5, maybe 6 more minutes, and then we'll check it again. But yeah, look at your fish frequently. As this piece here, I got a little less of the spread on it. It's okay. If you got someone that's just a touch, like maybe, then give them less, whatever. Maybe you got like a kid that's a little funky about flavors. You can give him that piece that doesn't have that much on it, I would have been that kid. This steak is very done. This is, I'm going to take it off the heat and put it onto one of the back burners that's not turned on at all. Actually, what I'm going to do is just take it and move it off the stove entirely. If I were in a kitchen, I'd be serving it and I'd be having my expediter move this out of the kitchen to the table. Get it. Get this table get this to 17, It's okay that this sits here and rests for a moment. I'm going to slice it off the bone in strips, and then I'm going to serve some of it with the fish. And really, what I think is going to happen here is the star of this is going to end up being the rub. It's going to do really, really well on the beef, and it's going to do really, 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 really well on the fish. And it's going to enhance them both because basically it's everything that I would have put on a fish. If I had just shaken everything down, I would have put everything on the fish. I would have put everything on the beef like that, and basically would have just not used the mayonnaise. The mayonnaise made it just spreadable and gave a little texture that can give a little crunch. That was my alarm, but I had just looked at the fish and determined that the fish was not quite ready. Okay, so basically I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to come back when I'm ready to plate everything up. So you see what we got here for me is, I think of this as a really good medium. You could go a little more or a little less, whatever. But it's really good on each side and not too much juice is pouring out. So I could cut this into serving sizes, lay it next to the fish, and it's not going to bleed all over the fish. And of course, you can see how it's here and it's cut and how it's going to be portioned just about right. If you want, you can make it a little thinner to make it, but I don't know. That's about right here. About, I don't know. Maybe an inch, I'm eyeballing. I don't know. I'm going to tell you what guys cannot do. Make of it what you will. Guys cannot look at something and tell you this is an inch. If they don't have a measuring instrument to properly measure, they're gonna give you a measurement in inches, and it's going to be grossly exaggerated. Don't trust men when it comes to talking about inches, especially if there's meat involved. If you know what I mean. You probably do. Now, this fish is basically done, and it does have a nice, you know, finish across it. Um, what I do want to do is I do want to pop this under the broiler for no more than a minute and a half, 2 minutes or whatever, just enough to get a good darkening on the outside, so I can get kind of a blackening effect to the fish. But uh, you know, not no pan searing or anything like that. It's very light flavor on the fish, and it's going to balance well because there is a stronger flavor with the beef. You know, so they're going to balance well. And yeah, so hang on. The beef continues to rest. I'm going to set a 2-minute alarm. I do know that fish will not need to be in there. It will not need to be in there for 2 minutes. But what happens, you see there, even as I cut this, it did not bleed out. There's a lot of juiciness in this steak. If you push into it, the juice will come out. But because I let it rest before I cut into it, basically, we didn't have that problem. So I'm going to take the bulk of the beef and put it back into the warm skillet to let it continue to stay a little warm in case I want to come back and have a little more or something. Okay. There we go. And this is just one of these things. I'm working with portions. I want smaller portions. There are sometimes I've sat down and I'm like, gee, I'm only going to eat a small bit, and I've eaten like the whole steak within a couple of hours. This will last a day or so, parceling it out with fish. But the whole idea of a more efficient diet is to eat. You see where the juice is coming out from where I've poked it and moved it over. So the most appropriate way to eat food for body efficiency is smaller portions and not grazing, not sitting and grazing every 2 or 3 minutes eating something. No, that's the same as always eating, and that's not good. But what you do want to do, if you really want your body to be more efficient with food, process it, have smaller meals, have about 5, potentially 6 meals a day, but smaller, a small portion. And if I can combine that with the stricter keto, even as I'm working with more weight resistance at the gym, then I should be in good shape in the next 2.5, 3 weeks when I'm away on my trip, my vacation. It's under 3 weeks now, by the way. Yeah, that's on the 29th. When I do come back, I have a lot of work to do as far as like some research, and I will be talking about basically ways in which to get my writing self-published. And I'm gonna choose the medium of Amazon, I believe. But it's basically I'm gonna be working with information on how to take what I've written, format it for that use, and basically they're pretty open, And so for this first volume, it's definitely gonna work for that. But yeah, we shall see. Let me, yeah. It's about time I check in on this fish. Oh, right. So what did that 2-minute broil do? It brought this extra crispiness to the sauce that was there that needed just a little bit more of that moisture pulled from it. It gave a nice, robust, roasting aroma it's different. For some reason, giving it just a little bit of a toastiness because it's been under a broiler just for a minute or so will really bring out some nuances in herbs that just aren't present before. So now it's time to put this on the plate. I'll start with a piece of the trout and the steak. Okay, so this is basically it. You know how it looks. Trout fillet, there's a skin on the bottom. It will pull away as you lift it, as because it's done. So you obviously don't eat the skin. If you want a less rustic thing, you can serve the cod, or you can just remove the skin from the trout before you bring it to the table or whatever. But whatever. Okay, so yeah, let's go in here and take a bite of this. Which, as you see, as it rests, it gets a little bit more done. See, beef will continue to cook from its own heat, so it's a little, yeah, but this is right around where it needs to be. Every bit as delicious as you think it would be. And let's come over here to the trout. Okay, cool. I want to get some of this flaky trout, but I want no skin. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that should be, yeah. I could have taken the skin off before I baked it, but whatever. If you do get a hold of the skin, it's not a little bite of it in your mouth or something. It's not that big of a deal. It does increase the. It tastes just like the fish itself. It's just stronger, but and it is edible. So, that's fine. But anyway, Okay, those herbs are great on this fish. Not too overpowering at all. Okay, so this works. This works really, really well. What could you do with this? You could, there we go. Put a little butter, but there's oil in the mayo or whatever, so you wouldn't really need to do that, A twist of a lemon if you wanted. I don't know. I like it just like this. I like this as a lighter treatment, and basically it's just not it's not taking away the flavor of the fish at all. Okay, so with this, I'm gonna eat this, and basically I can have as much of this as I want to, throughout the day, but have a little bit. This is a good dinner size portion of a brunch or lunch or dinner size portion. You actually could have half of this fish. But later on, if you wanted to have some mixed greens, you could take the fish here and you could just lay it on top of your mixed green salad. I don't know. If you can use a sandwich, make a fish sandwich or something. Anything that is within your boundaries. Now my my diet tells me not to exceed 50 grams of carbs in a day. So that's what I want to do. No more carbs. No more carbs for me, at least until after midnight. Okay. Bon appetit. God bless. Good night.